Considered as one of the most powerful Force users in history, whether as a Jedi or later on as a Sith, Darth Vader was one of the most feared men in the galaxy. It is said that after his body burned on Mustafar and nearly died, that is when he lost a lot of his Force potential that he had yet to reach, making him even scarier if you think about it. Just imagine what he would have been without being burned to a crisp, parts of his body being decapitated, and becoming more machine than man. Even with all this, he still managed to retain the high midichlorian count he once had prior to his new life, and even had 8/10 the strength of the Emperor. Despite all this though, he still had tremendous power and skill on his side, being able to overpower almost any opponent by only using the Force. The thing is that if none of the events that happened on Mustafar had taken place, Vader would most definitely be more powerful than the Emperor. As mentioned earlier, the potential for Vader was at an ultimate high, leaving many to wonder how the Emperor could risk having taken such a dangerous task of having Vader as his apprentice. One Jedi Knight in particular, named Jax Pavan, was noted as saying that he had never encountered a Force user like Darth Vader before, and that it was foolish for the Emperor to not fear him. Palpatine had a different opinion though. While most thought that Vader's limitations came from his physical damage, the Emperor believed the opposite. He believed that his psychological damage was the one thing that held him back from achieving his full potential. If Vader would just leave his despair behind and confront his choices more firmly, that is when Palpatine believed him to be at his full potential that came with being the Chosen One. Similar to Palpatine, Darth Plagueis believed as well that physical damages, even in extreme cases, did not limit one's ability to use the Force, and that was the case for Darth Vader. After eventually getting used to his armor and retooling his fighting style to inflict more damage with just one strike, he started getting some of his confidence back, and over time it led him to being recognized as one of the most powerful Sith Lords in the history of the galaxy. However, as much as I hate to say, Palpatine was right. It was his psychological torment that got the best of him. The choices that he made would always come back to haunt him, and it even resulted in temporary insanity during his mission on Atoa. This ultimately resulted in him never fully achieving his full potential, as he could not accept who and what he had become. Even Sidious would come to realize with time that Vader would never be the apprentice he was hoping for, and the prophets of the dark side would go as far as to say that Vader had too much Jedi in him to fully embrace the dark side. But enough about Vader's faults, let's learn about some of his strengths as well. Of course, the first thing that comes to mind about Vader is his Force choke ability. He used it many times while he was a Sith and even when he was Anakin. Very similar to this, he was also able to telekinetically destroy a target's internal organs. Vader was also known to use Tutamitis, an ability that would allow him to absorb blaster fire like that time we saw in Bespin with Han Solo, and even Force deflection, being able to deflect blaster bolts sometimes in the direction of the person firing. He was also known to use Force Cloak from time to time, having used it as Anakin and to teach his dark apprentice Starkiller. The power of telepathy was one that he possessed as well. It was shown after his battle with Luke on Bespin, and he was even able to drain knowledge from his opponents. This is shown too when he battles Luke in the throne room and is able to extract the thoughts of his son Luke, thinking about his twin sister. To make up for his lack of mobility, in many cases he used saber throw while battling his opponents. Despite his massive armor and prosthetics weighing him down, Vader was still able to move faster than the human eye could comprehend by using short bursts of Force speed. Of course, it did help that his natural strength was improved even more by his cybernetic enhancements. We can even see proof of this when Vader is able to lift a grown man off his feet with his bare hand and even choking him to death. During his time as a Sith, he was stabbed straight through the chest with both a lightsaber and a vibroblade, and hardly reacted in both cases. With this, he demonstrated remarkable physical durability and resistance to pain. To make matters worse for his opponents, his armor helped him to survive many more dangerous things such as explosions, toxins, and even the vacuum of space, while also a constant supply of pain-suppressing drugs to help him function with his wounds. The only downside to his suit was electrical discharges, as his suit was only moderately insulated. Now, it is worthy to note that Vader was dependent on the respiratory system of the suit to breathe. However, he was capable of using the dark side to temporarily heal his lung damage during his meditations. Now, when it comes to Force lightning, this is where the suit and body of Vader could do more damage than good. Having cybernetics and electronic life support systems meant that it was too dangerous and too much of a risk for Vader to use this Force power, as it could short-circuit parts of the suit and as such was rarely seen to use it. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned a lot about Vader today. If you did, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and like this video. If you haven't, subscribe as well and stay up to date with all of my videos that I upload on this channel. Have a fun day, and in closing, don't forget, may the Force be with you always.